are back in the 207 kitchen here at Main Studios, and if we're talking about jellies, jams, preserves, marmalades, anything of that nature, we're going to check in with Allison Carroll Duffy. She is the author of Preserving Pomona's Pectin. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Happy to be here.
What are we making today?
We are making triple berry jam.
Sounds really good.
Which has strawberries, blueberries, and raspberries.
Oh, so all three.
Yeah. So we're going to start with 3/4 of a pound of each of the fruits. So if you're approximating, a little bit less than a quart is 3/4 of a pound.
All right.
Okay. Same with the raspberries. We've got a mounded pint is about 3/4 of a pound.
Okay.
Blueberries, sort of a little mounded, that's also about 3/4 of a pound. If you have a scale, great, but
yeah.
if you have to estimate,
Reference
that's
point.
good. So I've already taken these fruits and prepared them. I've mashed them.
Yep.
So we've got mashed strawberries. I washed them and I took the stems off and I mashed them up. This is what you use for mashing, just a regular old potato masher.
There you go.
Like just mash like that. And then we've got the blueberries here and the raspberries here.
All right.
And we're gonna put them in the pot
Okay.
and get them heating up. And if you want to stir some of it,
I would be more than happy to do that for you.
So essentially we're going to want to just bring these up to a boil.
Okay.
And while you're doing that, I am going to move on to the pectin. Actually, put the lemon juice in first. That's
Okay.
1/4 cup of lemon juice there.
Add that right in.
All right, and that's going to be coming up to a boil, and
Okay.
we're going to, so the pectin, as you mentioned, Pomona's pectin is what we're using today. And this kind of pectin is a little bit of a different pectin than a lot of traditional pectins in that it gels with the addition of calcium rather than the addition of sugar. So most pectins use sugar to gel, which means you have to use a lot of it.
Okay.
Whereas here, because it is not reliant on the sugar, you can use less.
In
fact, the jam we're making today is sweetened with stevia, not with regular sugar. So we're gonna first make the calcium powder, calcium water, which is this. So that you're gonna do this before you start your recipe. You're gonna take a 1/2 teaspoon of calcium powder and mix it with a 1/2 cup of water, put it in a jar, shake it up. This is way more than we're gonna need for this recipe, but you would just keep this in the fridge, use it later. So,
that's great, multi-uses.
Yeah, every time you make, you work with Pomona's, you've got your calcium powder ready. So we're gonna put in 1.5 teaspoons of the calcium water. And so that's what helps the pectin activate, as it were.
And it keeps everything kind of sticking together.
Yeah, so that's a component of the pectin, exactly. So then the pectin itself is in this packet, and we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of pectin powder. We're not going to put it in there. We're going to actually mix it with the sweetener.
Okay.
So
why do we do that?
The reason we do that is that if you were to put the pectin powder directly in there, it would potentially clump. And this way, if you mix it with the sweetener, it sort of disperses it a little better. So we're using today, as I mentioned, this is a jam that's in the new section of my cookbook, which is the alternative sweetener section.
Yes.
So I have a new section that uses, basically lots of different things besides sugar. So recipes using stevia, monk fruit sweetener, agave nectar.
Yeah.
So
people are probably looking for alternatives.
Exactly.
These
So
days.
that's why I got a lot of feedback from people on the original version of the book saying, hey, are there other alternative sweeteners we could use? So that's how the new chapter came about. And so we want to mix the pectin powder into the stevia.
All right.
And if you're not familiar, if any of your viewers are not familiar with stevia, you can get it. It comes in this is one example of a brand you can get in the grocery store. It comes from the stevia, the leaf extract of the leaf of the stevia plant. And it's a 0-calorie sweetener. So once that is on a boil, we're going to add our
it's definitely boiling now.
So when I put this in, you want to mix it up promptly to stir in to get the pectin to dissolve.
Okay. Is that a little trick to it?
Exactly, because it just prevents it from clumping. So now essentially, as soon as that comes back up to a boil, it'll be done.
Wow.
And then
pretty simple.
It'll still be thin when it's hot, but as it cools, it'll thicken.
Oh, right. Okay. And so how long did we say?
So you mean to come to a boil?
Yeah.
Another minute or two. Okay. It'll be back. It's actually closer than that, but typically, typically that you'll be sure that it's dissolved the pectin and back at a boil within a minute or two. And actually, it's pretty much back at a boil now.
Okay.
So after it's done and you want to put it in a jar, you want to just make sure it's cool first.
Ta-da!
There you go.
Here we go.
The finished
Little TV
version.
magic right
There
here.
we go. Perfect. So
Looks good.
this recipe will make about 4 to 5 of these half-pint jars.
Okay.
And if you know how to can, this is a totally cannable recipe. But if you don't, that's totally fine too.
Okay.
So it freezes really, really well.
Good
You
to
just
keep in
wanna-
mind.
Yeah, you just want to make sure you leave some space at the top of the jar so it doesn't, when it, in the freezer, it doesn't expand and crack the jar.
Yeah.
You could also put it in Tupperware or any other type of freezer-safe container.
There you go.
So,
And it's in a healthy alternative
Exactly.
to something everybody loves. Triple berry jam.
Exactly.
Love it. All right, thanks so much for being here with
Oh,
us.
happy to be here.
We will have the recipe, all the instructions right on the 207 section of our website for you. We'll be right back.